Here with Dana Sorensen. She's one of the GMs for the inaugural AUSL season. What is a GM and what is your relationship going to be with the coaches and the head coaches?
So my first job is player acquisition, so building a roster. We saw the draft a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. We'll have a secondary draft, so that's my first priority. Second priority, hiring my staff, coordinating. I have a head coach, but hiring our associate head coach and our assistants and the rest of the staff. And then my perspective is managing it from day to day, giving them the right information or access to the right information to prepare our team. I'm not in the dugout, so I'm not a coach on the field, but and eyes from further away to maybe present some questions or some ideas and some theories that we can think about, and be kind of like a secondary voice for them during the season. And then as we maybe get trades on the table or things like that, then that's the stuff behind the scenes that we'll be handling.
And when I was watching the draft, it was you and Elisa Golder, who is your head coach, and it's like two amazing women that have such brains and such a really deep knowledge of our sport. What was your guys' game plan going into the draft? Like, what do you want people to know about Blaze for their first season?
You know, I'm a pitcher by trade, so I was not going to get shorted on pitching. I wanted to make sure we had enough pitching. We have a 4-team league, so having played in it, you're going to see pitchers going to see hitters repetitively, and so the advantage always goes to the hitter when we have that. So making sure that we had enough arms, enough quality arms, and we do an outs prediction. So how many outs do we think pitchers can get in a game, and kind of building the staff that way. So that was my ultimate first priority. Second priority was versatility. So we have a roster of 16 503 pitchers, so that's 11 position players. So out of that 11, I need 2 catchers for sure. So somebody's got to be a catcher position player, and then wanting to be able to move people around, infield, outfield, as we see needed, and then making sure our right-handed, left-handed hitter balance. So not being stacked all right-handed, not being stacked all left-handed, making sure that we're giving the diversity in the lineup that we need, and then some speed, because I think that's an element we can bring into the league this year that maybe wasn't utilized in previous years. The stolen bases were low numbers, so can we get more action on the bases? 2 things, that helps our hitters, right, on offense, but it also makes the game more fun for the fans to watch. So my lens is always like, how can we get more people tuned in to this game, to this sport? How can we tap into those college viewers and bring the game to them as a whole, as a collective AUSL? So how can I have a better product? And speed is fun on the bases, and seeing catchers trying to throw out runners is fun. Seeing, doubles turned into triples, singles into doubles. And then on the defensive side, I want some outfielders that can go run down some balls and make some diving plays, because that's fun to watch.
I think that there's so much that goes into like growing our game, and like, you've seen so much fan engagement at this type of tournament. What are you doing here in this tournament? What are you looking for potential pro players? And what can you tell like the youth of our sport that comes to things like this, that there's more after college for softball players?
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal, is to make this a career, right? I mean, I think we're in a good spot where we're going to pay a good amount of money for the time, and hopefully we can grow that. But we're here trying to see what talent is out there in the senior class and what's draftable, and then also coming forward. So next year's draft, right? We're going to expand to 6 teams next year. So there's 2 more rosters of 16 that will have to get filled. So a lot more college players to look at as we go. And then for the young kids, it's like, figure out what you're good at. Like I tell all my pitchers right now, like I didn't draft 4 pitchers that are good at everything. I drafted 4 pitchers that are good at their things. Right, and how do their things complement each other's things, right? Like I don't need 4 of the same pitcher. I don't need all power hitters. I need some speed. I need people who can hit the ball in the gap. I need good defenders. So being, know what you're good at, make your strengths your strengths, be great at what you're good at, and don't worry about chasing being everything. You're going to build, a lot of times when you're looking at a roster, there's so many great players to draft, right? And it wasn't not thinking somebody's great, but how does that fit with what I already have? And what I need. Nothing against that player that I didn't select in that position. It's just that, we needed an outfielder here, I needed some speed here, or we needed a left-handed hitter versus a right-handed hitter. So it's just, if you know what you're good at and you embrace that, then there'll be a spot for you somewhere.
And I think you that are like developing young softball players, and you're getting to really like teach them what you've seen throughout the years, seen in the college game, the professional scope now, like it's something that is really exciting for our sport to have somebody like you that's so knowledgeable share that wisdom, and like really be in a really cool position to really develop these professionals and have somebody to look up to.
I'm a huge baseball fan. It's my passion behind softball, and I think there's elements of baseball that we can bring in to our game, and how they've changed the way that they look at scouting and roster acquisition and all that. And I love that Kim is our senior advisor, and picking her brain. I'm gonna pepper her with 1,000 questions this summer,
as you should,
because I think we can blend our worlds, right? Know what we're good at in softball, and steal a little bit of what baseball's done, on the science side of things, on the application of analytics, and how do we strategize better. I think we have a huge opportunity for that, especially in the pro game, right? Like you going up to the plate, knowing what you're good at as a hitter and where is your weak point against certain pitchers, right? And not assuming that I'm not a good hitter because I struggle to hit that pitch. Well, maybe my barrel path isn't the best against that pitch, but my barrel path is better against this pitch, right? And so not being so absolute in how we look at like good and bad, same with pitchers. Like you're good against these hitters. This is where you thrive. Here's how we can beat these other hitters. This is what we have to do, but this is where we're putting you into this role because you match up against this hitter really well. And then the game's more competitive, right? So now we're seeing these little like advantages, trying to see which one tips in one direction.
Oh, well, as an alum of Athletes Unlimited, I'm super excited to see what you do this first season as a GM.